Game 2 coming at you here. Picks and bans. Eager versus Aware. Aware already putting 1 point under their belts, and that's going to put them at 2. They're one step away from at least they're one step away. If they win this, they're in first right now. If they lose, then, I mean, Eager's going to stay one step ahead.
Both teams are okay with their position right now. Eager tied for first, like you mentioned, and Aware having the opportunity to be in first place this late into the split. We saw them go off to a great start. A lot of teams were saying, oh yeah, you know, new team, don't know what they're bringing yet. They'll be where they belong soon enough. But Aware saying,
Oof.
yeah, we're where they belong right now. We're near the top, and we have a chance to be in first place.
First bans coming out. No Guan Yu, no Nemesis. I'm getting a flashback.
Same bands, but the sides are switched. So this time Aware not willing to give up Guan Yu to go for that Circuit counter pick. And Aware actually banning away Vulcan. I mean, we saw the impact that Boronic was able to have last set. Aware must not be willing to pick it first, and they're worried about Delta Marine getting it on the back end.
Yeah, because I was bragging about Dwurst and Delta when we started. They had great games, especially Dwurst on Sun Wukong and Delta on Vulcan. He had 2 fantastic Vulcan games. So Boronic was able to snag that from him last time, but they're not going to even give him the opportunity this game.
No, but Zeus left open here, so we'll see if Aware wants to pick it up, or if it's going to be Delta Marine, like you also mentioned, had a great game on that last week, going to be able to pick that up. But again, Fafnir left open.
There it
no
is.
surprise to see Aware pass it up. They have every single time that I've seen them do it. And there's the Zeus pick. First pick for Boronic.
So how come we're not seeing Fafnir as much anymore? He's kind of just fall off the wayside. Nobody wants to prioritize him anymore.
I don't know if I would go that far. I would just say that it seems to be team dependent. We've seen Elevate not really prefer to run it. We've seen Soar not really prefer to run it. And now we've seen Aware also not really prioritizing it. Just must not synergize with their play style, want to take more fights and less objectives. Though we saw how good Aware was at controlling the Gold Fury. So it's a little bit surprising to me they don't like the Fafnir playstyle. Maybe Kenshin's just more comfortable on other gods.
I like Eager picking up Robin again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. DoctorL had a great, fantastic game on Robin.
And he was able to bully Dwurst. So this time they want to give it to Dwurst so that he can alleviate some of that pressure on the solo side. He doesn't want to get soloed early. He doesn't want to take that second death early. And then Gilly loses his entire right side jungle, and we see it kind of fall apart from there. So this time, trying to secure the farm for Gilly so that he can be more effective. I said I wanted to see these 2 step up. They're the first 2 picks for Eager, so that's especially accentuated. We'll see if they're able to do it this game.
That's a Medusa.
This is some old school Xbox stuff,
It
man.
really is.
This
Medusa
is season 1.
Athena taunt into Medusa.
Pick Medusa and just, you know, hit
Just
him
go
with the
ham.
Petrify every time off the taunt. Here's a little tidbit for you guys at home. Cougar's going to be mad at me for saying this, but last time I talked to Cougar, he plays on a very low sensitivity. Some players like really high sensitivity, some players like really low sensitivity. The same way on PC, but on console, you need a sensitivity of at least 20, I believe, to turn around in time for Medusa ult for the casting time. Cougar plays on less than 20. So he has to be really, really careful about getting petrified just straight up in lane. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Giving out the hot deets.
But pick Medusa against Cougar every game. He can't handle it in lane.
But next band's coming out. Khepri and Ratatosker banned out by Eager, and Aware Gaming don't want to deal with the Raijin. We didn't really get to see him last game, but he's really potent in the mid.
No, not picked or banned last game, but that's because both mids were selected very early on. We saw the Vulcan on the opposite side, picked right away, and this time the Soul again for Eager, but it's a flex pick. You don't know if that is going to Cougar or to Delta Marine, so there's you get 1 ban of each. You get the Raijin and the Freya.
And Freya out, but that means Bacchus, Geb, and Tyr are in. Aware Gaming finishing it off with the Bacchus and the Tyr.
So a heavy tank composition here for Aware. It looks like it's going to be Athena in the jungle for Mollusk would be my guess. Bacchus support, Tyr jungle. No, it's going to be Athena jungle.
Okay, question.
I was going to suggest some spicy stuff, but it's not going to be.
You've already given out some spicy strats. Let's keep it low. But how many reinforced footwear you think we're going to see out of Aware?
4.
4?
4.
Who ain't going to take it?
Medusa.
Medusa?
Yeah, Medusa's going to be the only one to not grab them. We saw Soul go for the penetration boots last time, not electing to go for those in the mid lane. I'm assuming it's going to be Soul mid here and not Chronos mid. This 2 flex picks both can go either way, but Delta Marine seems to be a little bit more comfortable on Soul. I'm going to drink a water now because I was wrong.
It's all right. Go to the caster corner. Delta Marine going to be playing Chronos in the mid lane. AirCougar going to be on Soul in the duo, paired up with Myflin on the Geb. Going to be able to get a little bit of extra defense with that Geb shield as well as a Disapparate.
A lot more damage on the side of Eager than there is on the side of Aware, and that's just because we do have those 2 Guardians and the Warrior for Aware, and it was Athena jungle. So at least I wasn't entirely wrong. But just so much damage to follow up on the setup for Aware, but that's it. They've got 3 setup gods, and well, Bacchus kind of does a lot of damage, I suppose, at least in the early to mid game. But looking at the damage on the side of Eager, Chronos, Soul, Susano, those are gods that can really start to hurt once you get into that mid game. However, their early game is very, very weak. Yeah, Soul has great push potential in the duo lane, but you're matched up with a Geb, who is notoriously the weakest pusher of all Guardians. So they won't have that advantage in the left lane, most likely. And then you don't have that mid game damage until you hit 15, 18 minutes around there, and you've got some items and levels online for these later game mages. So Eager needs to be a little bit careful. They could get run over by the tankiness of Aware's lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to, I mean, even if they do grow into that stage where they're doing more damage, if they're allowed to get fed, if they're allowed to get these defensive items, it's going to be like throwing a pebble at a tank. You're going to be able to do anything about it. So
literally.
They are literally going to be built like tanks.
A pebble next to a tank on the side of, you know, Mollusk or Kenshin or DoctorL, you name it.
But Aware Gaming doing the same strat we saw earlier, take the experience camps, take the fire imps. Meanwhile, Eager flipping around on the other side to take the left mid harpies. Meanwhile, over in duo, Eager, you said Myflin wasn't the good push god.
He isn't, but not having the acid spray be able to clear the way instantly at this point, Medusa not quite as strong as Soul, but once that second ability for Medusa starts to full clear the wave, they're going to have a lot easier time contesting this lane.
Yeah, well, Cameron going to have to play it safe because it keeps getting picked out by those stellar bursts. It takes up so much lane.
You need to dodge those. You know that Cougar's going to look for it. You need to be letting him waste his mana. There's no reason to be stepping up to the wave whenever it's already under your tower.
I love that casting. Just don't get hit.
Don't get hit.
Just don't get hit.
It's a lot like a fighting game. Your problem most of the time is that you're getting hit by things you shouldn't be getting hit by. You need to be wary. It's all about spacing and all the other fighting game terms in the world. Poke, jabs, all that kind of stuff. It all applies to Smite, basically.
Yeah.
You want to position correctly. You want to space away from that stellar burst. Make him waste his mana.
I like DoctorL. We saw a nice play while you were talking. Just the displacement coming out from tier. He's one of those setup guys. He's going to be able to pick you up from one spot and put you over in another, especially when you don't want it. Pushing you into a team, pushing you into a tower, pushing you somewhere you don't want to go.
Pushing you into a ton of damage from Zeus and Medusa. That's the game plan for Aware, as well as bringing a good amount of damage himself. Once he gets, we'll see if he gets ahead, if he wants to get a Jotun's Wrath third item, something along those lines, to just make sure he's providing a little bit of extra punch because they don't have a ton of damage on the side of Aware.
Do you think we're going to have a replay of last week where we have a 5-man Athena taunt into a Zeus ultimate and then a Petrify, and it just keeps building?
Well, we saw Eager be on the beneficiary of that, but Myflin gonna get taunted in here by Mollusk. That was before level 5 for Medusa. That was Mollusk's ult as well, so he needs to be a little bit more wary of the kind of follow-up he's gonna get there, just going a little bit too deep.
Boronic taking a little bit of damage, trying to force out Giliara, who's just doing his best, doing a very good job of being a bully.
That's what you want.
The pull is so much better. Like the matchup with the Zeus in the mid lane is so much better in my opinion versus the Vulcan, because he's gonna be he can't get away. I mean,
they're
squishy.
fairly similar. They're fairly similar.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be a little bit more careful approaching a Vulcan if he already has the turret down, because he can CC you enough to be able to get some solid poke off in return. But they're both immobile mages that you should be able to use your 3, get in there, pull them, hit them with both ticks of the Stormkata, and then get out before you get any sort of significant poke damage in return. Gilly looking a little bit more comfortable this time around, and sometimes that's what you need. You know, you're not in there all the time. You're not a starter for your team. You're just there whenever you're needed, and so you're not in the flow that the other players are. You're not used to this, the SCL pace and all that kind of stuff right away. So maybe he needed that game to kind of get his feet underneath him.
Aggressive junglers, though, for the start. We saw Giliara just go hard when it came to Boronic, and now we're seeing a rotation from, we saw the rotation from Mollusk as well, but Giliara over on the right side, not able to lock down tier. That's the biggest thing. I gotta say, I don't like the Athena going against the Susano when it comes to the jungle picks.
I don't know if I agree with that, because you can, if you're it depends on what Mollusk wants to prioritize in leveling his abilities. He's obviously going to be leveling his shield wall first. You need it for the clear and the damage coming out of the jungle. But if you trust your teammates enough to level your taunt second, to not go for that preemptive strike, to not rely on the burst damage coming out from the dash as well, you're able to just CC him for so long, and it looks like he's already prioritizing the taunt over the shield wall even. So trusting his teammates probably a little more than he needs to. You can put 2 points into that taunt and then worry about maxing your shield wall for the clear, relying heavily on that Wrath and being able to split camps with his teammates in order to clear it quickly enough. But he hasn't been particularly late in his rotations. He's been okay keeping up with Gilly for the most part. The same farm at this point in the game. So if it works, it works.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've seen Athena before. Haven't seen it with Mollusk, though, but this is the second week. If you haven't tuned in, Mollusk is coming from the PC Challengers Cup side to play as the jungler for Aware Gaming. And thus far, been giving us a really nice show.
He's played this is his 4th game, and he's played 4 different gods, showing that he doesn't have just 1 or 2 ready to go, and that's something that's a little bit surprising to me, just because he's coming over, you know, he's playing on the controller competitively for the first time in Smite, so you expect him to only worry about being comfortable with 2 to 3 gods, and then if we get those banned away, we'll wait for teams to identify that, and we'll worry about expanding my god pool when I need to. But showing right away that he's able to play basically anything that works for the composition. Athena, Serket, Ratatosker, whatever they need.
And it's nice to see that he's not crippled by the controller, because it is hard to flip from one to the other. It's a completely different beast to tackle. But 5 minutes, 55 seconds in, no kills on the board just yet. Aware Gaming taking a slight lead, but at this point the numbers are so low we don't even need to see the graphs.
This is okay for both teams, because right now Aware not as tanky as they would like to be, just because they need some defensive items online right away, but on the side of Eager, not as many damage items as they would need. They need to be able to punch through that tankiness. So Eager definitely wants to get to late game in this composition. Aware wants to finish it in the mid-20s, around there.
And it's kind of like a repeat of what we saw the last game. There is a ticking time bomb here. If you don't finish it within this realm of the game, it's going to be hard, but Aware wants to go ahead and try it up this lead, taking a little bit of damage onto the gold free, but Giliara going to get chunked by Aware, throwing down the Zeus ultimate as well, forcing Delta to rewind back with the rest of his team.
Nice Cataclysm there, but Cameron immunes it with a great Petrify.
Nice.
Finds Gilly, but not able to find the damage, but he's all alone, gonna get killed by Myflin. That's the first blood onto the side of Geb, and all of Aware looks like they have to back up. Only the available from Tier, but Eager does not want to look at the Gold Fury. I like the call, because Mollusk still had that Wrath available. You don't want to give the opportunity to give up the lead you just got.
Exactly. You want to put more pressure on Aware. Don't give them any opportunities. Nice stuns coming out. Just good placement, good plays, and good shot calls so far.
The player damage chart looking much better for Eager. Dwurst doing his job, being the lane bully, but DoctorL with that strong heal from the power cleave in the blue stance, not too worried about how much damage he's putting out, but Delta Marine already second on there. Then you got Boronic, you expect to see him, but Myflin putting out a ton of damage, as well as AirCougar on that soul.
The biggest thing for me, Giliara is still second to the bottom, but we haven't had these big team fights. We haven't had these gigantic 4-man knock-up typhoons. We haven't had that opportunity yet. We're only 7 minutes and 42 seconds in.
No, but Eager doesn't need Giliara to be the carry of this team. I mean, Jelly isn't really the carry of this team. He would probably argue with me on that, but he's there to set up for Delta Marine and AirCougar and do whatever he can to get them into that late game where those two can carry. And so Gilly doesn't have to worry about being on top of the player damage charts. Yeah, I'd like to see him be near the top in the mid game as Susano, but if he's not, as long as he's hitting those multi-man typhoons, pulling people into the damage, they're going to be okay.
Giliara wanted to go in for a gank, but instead decided not to. Cameron dashed completely back as soon as he saw sights of him in the jungle, so instead, no real action coming out from there, but I like the thought. I like the rotations. If anything, it's just putting pressure. You know he's lurking.
Just exactly, giving some lane pressure to AirCougar there, and that's what you want out of your Susano. That's the comfort that I want to see out of Gilly, just waiting to use that 3 teleport, waiting until Medusa dashes away, and then getting more free poke off. That's what he's all about. I don't understand the Ritual Dagger pickup here, by the way, for Mollusk. Ritual Dagger excels at elongating your team relic usage, your shells, your sprints, your curses, things of that nature. And he's not going to get another relic for another 3 levels. The only time you ever see Ritual Dagger picked up, oh, nice double taunt.
Nice double taunt into the knockup, into the Intoxicate, Myflin being the target. Here comes the Lawbringer, pushing him right back out, and DoctorL getting a kill as well. Just so much bundled on top of each other to secure the kill.
So smooth there from DoctorL. The Lawbringer slows him in the Lightning Storm immediately into the Fearless, securing that kill. But that was 3 ults used on the side of Aware.
Gilly forced to use the Purification to get out of Mollusk's taunt. They waited on the other side of the Gold Fury pit to come out, but now the Typhoon coming through. Boronic taking quite a bit of damage. Supernova coming through as well, but Mollusk crashing right back in, gives a little bit of protection and a lot of damage.
Great defense from Eager, just poking at them out so much. Here comes Gilly in the backside looking to pick up Mollusk. Thinks better of teleporting in. A great Fearless, he's got no Purification.
And Cameron is right here as well, gonna try and dash away, but he's gonna get stunned out. The Petrify gonna find Delta and buy them enough time to try and get around this corner, but DoctorL doesn't want to lazy back like that again.
Good, like I mentioned, good defense there from Eager, able to keep Aware off that Gold Fury. Boronic may fall here, use the Purification to get away from that route. Yeah, Dwurst gonna let him go because Mollusk shows up. But that's a good job getting that Purification. But now Eager looking at the Gold Fury, Mollusk's coming in and he has Wrath.
He has the Wrath, he has the Ritual Dagger, whatever you want, he's got it. And now Mollusk here, just a nice deterrent, waiting to find that 2-man taunt, 3-man taunt, but the Lawbringer not going to connect instead. Cougar still so low, he has the Geb Shield though, and the Sanctuary, but both of those are about to go away.
Nice Cataclysm keeps DoctorL off Cougar for now, still looking for him, but here's the rest of Eager. DoctorL, so just in the middle of everyone, is able to fall. Great peel there for AirCougar, but at the end of the day, that's because there was a blatant miscommunication between Mollusk and DoctorL. We see DoctorL use the Lawbringer over the top right after Mollusk had gotten a great double taunt. If he just lays it on top of Athena there, Cougar dies, he lives, and then they're able to look at the Gold Fury. But instead, because of that miscommunication, DoctorL ends up falling, no Gold Fury for Aware, and now Eager's actually in the lead.
Yeah, but Aware still looking at this Gold Fury again, this time with Mollusk and Cameron, but here comes Myflin and the rest of the team. Want to go ahead and try and stop them, leash that Gold Fury. They're not even going to chase them for a fight.
Eager gave up a free Gold Fury last game, and they're saying no more of that stuff,
Exactly.
Man. They don't want any more snuck Gold Furies because this is a great spot for Eager to be in. I mentioned it that they're in the gold lead now, and with the late game time position they have, if they can keep this going, they're going to snowball this game.
Yeah, but Boronic is here. Kenshin getting channeled by the Athena ultimate, but not going to be where they want. Typhoon going to find Chu knocked up, and Kenshin was still stunned. Myflin looking for the damage, but that Gold Fury is going to go to Eager. Now they're just trying to get away, trying to cut their losses before anything else happens.
Dwurst picked up Wrath at level 12, able to secure that Gold Fury with it. Great pickup. I don't think Eager or Aware knew that he had that Wrath. Now Cougar in a tough spot, gets belly flopped just into this. No, doesn't get into this Disapparate in time. The Trucker Horn, as F. calls it, able to secure it for Boronic.
And see, Supernova was bringing the pain, but it wasn't enough. We are gonna see AirCougar fall. Boronic getting credit for that kill. Now the graph's really starting to tilt. We saw that Gold Fury coming out from Team Eager, and now it's about 4,000 experience and about 3,000 gold in favor of those red trunks.
I feel bad for selling out Cougar's weakness of Medusa now because he finally listened to me. Someone finally listened to me and picked up Pythagoras' piece whenever you've got 2 main damage dealers as magical damage dealers. It's just such an efficient item. If he's anywhere near Delta Marine gets magical lifesteal as well as 30 magical power just for being near him, just for being near Cougar. So when we see Cougar get chased down by DoctorL and all of a sudden Delta Marine's there to support him, now Delta Marine's doing even more damage in these team fights if they're grouped up just far enough apart to not get hit by Lightning Storm or Belly Flop or any of those AoEs. They're going to be doing way more damage. I love the pickup.
Mollusk dashing, not able to find the taunt, but if it makes you feel any better, I listen to you about Pythagoras' piece. I buy it every time I play Shington's Mountain.
That item is so good. Just CDR, power, it's the same price as Bancroft's Talon. There's no reason to not pick it up.
Exactly, but Aware Gaming, cutting back, making sure they get their back camps, making sure that they don't give Eager anything else at all. No objectives, no camps, because that's where they're going to start bleeding out. They don't want Eager to get ahead because they're the tank group right now, and that's not what they want.
Myflin gonna get CC'd onto the tower, but a great Supernova from AirCougar gonna knock everyone up,
nice.
Keeping him away. DoctorL gonna miss the Fearless this time, but a great double knockup from Gilly. Cameron's at 1 health, able to finish him off.
Giliara gonna find credit for the kill. Mollusk being split off from the rest of his team, having to run back, and at this point, Eager, they're backing off. They got what they wanted. They took out Cameron. Doctor looking very low as well. Giliara may be able to dash forward, find it with Mollusk as well, but the knockup going to keep him at bay and force out the purification.
We see the damage already coming out of Delta Marine. Has that Doom Orb almost fully stacked now and went for that Winged Blade. Love the pickup there from Delta Marine. Able to get attack speed, health, more movement speed, able to be immune to slows, and they've got a lot on the side of Aware.
Yeah, but Aware are eager, maybe overstepping their boundaries here. Kenshin able to find a little stun, but at this point not able to really, I mean, they're keeping them out, but at what cost?
They're taking a little bit of poke right now, but Eager should just give this up. They've got the tower to 1 HP already.
Oh,
it's
here
as
comes
good as
Mollusk,
dead.
able to find it, and then Aware DoctorL able to come in for the kill, taking out Cougar, and then the Zeus ultimate comes through. Just nice.
That's
good.
That time, Eager, like I mentioned, it's just stayed a little bit too long. There's no reason to push there because that tower is 1 HP. As soon as you get one soul auto, one Chronos auto, anything along those lines, that tower is as good as dead. Instead, they try and get a little bit greedy, stay there and make sure it dies, and they lose Cougar in the process. Cougar now 0-2-3, needs to try to stay alive a little bit more. If he can get to that late game, he's going to be swinging super hard. He does have a gold lead on Cameron right now, but it could be even bigger. 2 times he's been in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and he's paid for it.
And I feel like every time we see one team getting aggressive, the other team has an answer for it. They take the strategy, they flip it. We saw misdirections coming out from both teams last game. We saw Eager trying to get aggressive, take down this tower. Instead, I asked at what cost? It got flipped on them. They lost a member, and now they're going to keep going with that momentum.
I mean, it's better than losing Delta Marine there, though, because
Yes.
Delta Marine has that Doom Orb. You don't want to be losing those stacks, losing that power that he has online. And speaking of power, I mean, this is the character that you're going to be watching. Chronos, going into this mid to late game, he's already had a great start. I don't think he has a death yet. Able to just put out that damage, and if he can get another item or 2 online before they're able to really get onto him, shut down those Doom Orb stacks, it's going to be far too late for Aware. No matter how tanky their composition is, overall, Chronos is able to just shred you with those auto attacks.
And I feel like, oh, there he goes. Look, Delta Marine, we were just talking about you. Chronos erasing Mollusk here, and now Eager looking at a pretty nice spot, able to take down this tower, and look.
1 auto.
Yeah, it's just gone. Poof.
1 auto. That's all you needed to do. If they would have just backed up earlier, they could have been in a good spot. It looks like DoctorL trying to trade out that tower for the tower in the middle lane, but Cougar is there to defend it. And yeah, 4-0-1 right now for Delta Marine. You do not want to let Chronos middle start to get on a roll. You don't want to let him get that farm that he needs, because it's really, really easy to shut him down. You shouldn't be letting him get any red buffs. You should be invading almost every red buff, especially with Zeus, Athena. You can get in there, you can do tons of AoE damage in the jungle. There's no reason to let him get the amount of farm that he's been able to get thus far. Look at the gold lead he has on Boronic right now. It's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty dang gigantic. He's pulling in 418 gold a minute, and that's quite a bit when you think about it. He's going to be able to finish out everything that he wants, but at this point they're going to finish out this tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Cameron here going to try and stop it, but there's not much he can really do. Instead, he just sits in the back, doesn't want to get picked off.
Okay, so we touched on the Ritual Dagger for Mollusk, and I didn't like that pickup. Yes, he gets the Frenzy now, which is a little bit curious. I mean, I guess I get it. You don't have the Tower Siege because you don't have as many damage dealers to worry about it. So it looks like Eager just trying to keep Boronic from running into the tower there. Good guy, Eager. Though he might die to minions. Minions are they do a lot of damage, but
Winions.
So they're trying to
Winions don't care about DCs.
That's right. They don't care at all. They don't have any
Savage.
feelings or any sort of. They're out for blood.
They're out for blood. I mean,
All the time.
they're probably the most chaotic people here in this game.
They do spawn on the chaos side.
They do. It's crazy.
They all do.
Back into the game, 16 minutes, 47 seconds, 3-7 read the kills. We were talking about that gold coming out from Chronos, but look at the gold coming out from Team Eager. They're really starting to find that lead. It's continuing to build up. I mean, they're up a couple of K.
We see this again and again. If you're going to draft this tanky composition, the worst thing that can happen is you get behind, because then you're not tanky enough to deal with the damage that our team is giving, and you don't deal any damage because you're a tanky character. So Aware in a really tough spot. They have to try and steal away a Gold Fury, get a good pick on a character like Delta Marine, then they can start to turn it around.
Yep, and I mean, that starts with taking these small objectives. That starts with taking buffs, taking towers, and then from there, then you can look at the Gold Fury, but Team Eager is already there. The Gold Fury already less than half. They took the first one. Mollusk here trying to stop it, and they shielded it. I mean, they leashed it.
They have to, because Mollusk does have that Wrath available. Unless they want to commit heavily to CCing him, they have to make sure that he's not able to get in there and steal that Gold Fury. Boronic getting zoned out entirely by Myflin right now. DoctorL made the rotation on the backside. Gonna take a little bit of poke for it, but he's not worried. He does have that power cleave heal like I mentioned earlier.
So we talked about this game being a ticking time bomb. What does Aware have to do to stay in this and still be able to hurt Eager? Make Eager bleed.
First and foremost, they have to kill Delta Marine. Now already level 17, the highest level in the game. 4-0-1, has 4 items completed at level 18, or at minute 18. That is nuts. That is really, really bad for Aware. They have to kill him, and they have to get objectives on the back end.
And one of those items is that still fully stacked Doom Orb. He hasn't died yet. Eager leashing once again, just keeping Mollusk away. At this point, it's going to be a dance until this Gold Fury is gone or Mollusk is gone.
DoctorL coming around the back, looking to get a Blink Fearless or something, but Eager spots it out. Does get a nice double Fearless, but there's no one here to follow up.
And he's in the depths of the team. He's going to still chase for Giliara, but gets stunned out. Meanwhile, Myflin going to find the nice Cataclysm onto Mollusk. Supernova coming down, but not going to be able to finish anybody off. If anything, a zoning tilt, if you will.
Good meditation tops off Aware, able to make sure that they aren't taking too much damage in return. We saw the Frenzy pop there from Athena, and man, it lasted so long because of that Ritual Dagger. What a great pickup.
Exactly, there you go. See, I'm loving the
I'm being
insight coming through.
extremely facetious right now.
Oh,
I don't understand. I really don't understand it at all. I would have, maybe it was a misbuy. That's the Wingblade would have been so good against this lineup from Meteor as well.
Nice stun coming out. Once again, it's not only the damage coming out from Delta Marine, but the CCs are on point. Nice double taunt coming through into the Lawbringer, looking for a Fearless, only going to be able to find one in the back line, and Delta Marine is the target like he should be, but he is going to get stunned, and now AirCougar's here, and that could be DoctorL losing his life if he's not careful.
1 HP for both characters, not able to get the power cleave heal, but another huge taunt from Mollusk, the Lightning Storm coming down into the double Petrify as well. Cougar's dead, Myflin's got nowhere to go. That's a double kill on the side of Aware, and now the Gold Fury's still available.
Gold Fury is wide open. Eager cannot defend. Everybody's so low or they're dead. Delta Marine's gone, but instead, Aware are gonna scatter. Go get things from the jungle. Don't worry about the objective just yet.
And that's because Dwurst came in, having that Wrath available, would be able to steal that Gold Fury, or at least make a good attempt. Wrath still on the side of Mollusk, still up, so maybe, you know, they just don't want to risk it. Instead, get this tier 1 tower in the middle lane, but Delta Marine's flanking. They need to be careful. They don't have any physical damage putting in on this tower. And look at the chunking autos from Delta Marine.
Yeah, those are just auto attacks, and they're completely just destroying his health. Mollusk's gonna get pulled right back in, but Delta Marine's sitting off on the back line. There's nothing he can really do right now. Instead, Mollusk gonna head back into the jungle with a sliver of HP.
But that's 2 important relics that Eager just forced there. The sprint coming out of Bacchus and the Wrath from Athena. So now they don't have to worry quite as much, and you see it right away. Wrath is down, let's go for the Gold Fury. Dwurst has his. We should be able to secure this over top of the damage available. No Lightning Storm still as well.
Third time's the charm. Cameron getting channeled by the Athena ultimate, but Mollusk's not jumping in yet. Gold Fury is now gonna go down for Eager once again, but that's gonna be a beautiful Cataclysm coming out from Myflin. Kenshin is just way too low. He's not gonna be able to get out. Giliara getting credit for the kill, and then they're gonna continue pulling out DoctorL with Giliara. He's gonna keep going, but a beautiful 3-man push coming out, and he's still alive, but not for long.
Mollusk has to be careful here, coming in to try and save DoctorL, but he was as good as dead already. He's gonna be in trouble. Dwurst over the top, slows the beautiful time rift over the wall.
Boom.
Delta Marine now 5-0-4. A second Gold Fury goes the way of Eager, and here's the worst part for Aware is that even though they've got 2 magical ADCs right now, no physical ADCs on the side of Eager, both Soul and Chronos shred towers. If they get a lead like this and they're able to start pushing down towers, Aware's not gonna have much time to respond because of the damage they'll be able to put out onto the structures.
And my first thought when I saw that Soul Chronos combination was, even if Chronos doesn't get online, you still have Soul. You still have Soul to shred towers, because that is what she is good at. Cameron gonna get locked out of position. 3 members chasing his tail, and Delta Marine gonna get credit for the kill. Just keep feeding the Chronos.
That's both relics for him as well, just not in the right position at all. And like I mentioned, the tower shred way too strong. Aware not able to fight into it, not having Chronos available to them. Oh, it looks like DoctorL gonna come over the top, finds the Fearless onto Delta Marine, but now he's got no escape available. Kenshin trying to get as much damage off as he can. A nice double taunt coming in from Mollusk, but the Typhoon on the back end knocks them up. Delta Marine rewinds, has all his cooldowns available now.
All the cooldowns, but now he's gonna get stuck between a rock and a hard place, literally with Tyr. He's gonna keep running, but the Frenzy has been popped. They're gonna keep running after it, but the CC gonna be good. Mollusk taking too much damage.
DoctorL blinks in, trying to get in there, but a nice root coming out from Dwurst. Had the Frenzy though, could have done a lot of damage. He wouldn't have gotten rooted.
They did quite a bit, but Aware Gaming just getting pushed out, rooted, stunned, what have you. Why is this tanky comp not working for Aware?
They fell behind and Delta Marine got really, really big, really, really fast, and Chronos doesn't really care how tanky you are. His autos are going to be hitting you for 200 if you're tanky, 350 if you're not. And you see it already almost 20k player damage. He's done almost 1,000 damage a minute at this point. Only 4,000 damage behind that mark. And look, it still hasn't bought an item. He still hasn't backed after that fight. Can we see how much gold in hand each player has?
Sure, it's going to be a lot. They've got quite the coffers currently being bolstered with the gold in hand. So
yeah, still hasn't, like I mentioned, still hasn't back. There it is, 3,000 gold available to him. So he could sell that Soul Shard and buy Rod of Tahuti right now. He could have Rod of Tahuti done at 23 minutes with 50 Doom Orb stacks and you know, a Winged Blade and Obsidian Shard online. That is going to be too much damage for this tanky lineup to handle because the tanks don't have enough farm. Yeah, DoctorL's level 17, but what about Mollusk? He's only level 14. What about Kenshin? He's only level 14 as well. Delta Marine going to be able to do whatever he wants in these fights as long as he can avoid the big CCs, as long as he can avoid the Fearlesses, avoid the taunts, and avoid the knockups. He's going to be free to do whatever he wants.
And think about it, he's level 20. So not many people are going to be able to hurt him as much. It's going to come down to that CC to keep him still, keep him not shredding them. That's the only way they're going to be able to kill him if they incapacitate him. But DoctorL on the other side, Myflin just boxing out, but Bacchus is here as well. They're waiting for the rest of Team Eager to come on in, and on that cue, here comes Delta Marine. Eager have two strats. They have two strats, yeah? Take out objectives and feed Delta.
And feed Delta. I'm very surprised they're taking these fights. Delta Marine still hasn't backed. If they want to pull this Fire Giant, if they want to take another fight, they should let Delta Marine spend that 3,000 gold that he has. There he goes. But it looks like Eager still wants to go aggressive. DoctorL gonna channel the Athena ultimate on top of him, a taunt onto Myflin, but a missed Fearless, a double Cataclysm as well. These are a lot of ultimates being used, and they don't have Delta Marine here.
Double Typhoon gonna knock two up and keep them out of the fight. If anything, I mean, they spit these ultimates just to get away.
But
just
they
to keep the fight. They weren't able to lock down anybody, though.
You're right. They did use them to get away, but they shouldn't have needed to. They should have just backed up. Once Delta Marine's backing, there's no reason for Myflin to roll in there and try and get it. Athena just knocked that down with a reach, by the way. That was pretty funny.
That was nice. It's almost the same as the Geb auto taking the Fire Giant.
I'm sure Eager would rather have Athena get the middle tier 1 tower with a reach than have Geb steal a Fire Giant with an auto attack. That was one time rift that just hit Boronic, by the way.
Yes, that was one. And look at his health. It just got chunked. Team Eager are in a very nice position right now, already setting their sights on the Fire Giant. 25 minutes, 48 seconds in. DoctorL is on standby, waiting to come in with the Lawbringer. Going to be a good amount of damage, but it's not going to be enough to take out the Fire Giant. Instead, they're just waiting for their opportunity to come on in, but the Fire Giant is still going. That's going to be the run, and that's going to be the Fire Giant for Aware.
Aware steals it away. Mollusk going to fall as well as DoctorL, but they do pick up AirCougar on the back end. Man, why are teams pulling Fire Giant whenever they've got towers available? Just push down this tier 2 tower, push down the left tower, just
Cameron.
Secure the win. Instead, Eager goes for the Fire Giant. They're probably going to pick up CaMeRxN on the back end here, but still, they lose the Fire, they lose a member. They could have just been going for towers instead. A risky call allows Aware to open the door back into the game.
Gilly wanted it, and he wanted it hard. Gonna root Boronic, but not gonna be enough. Gilly coming back into the Phoenix, wants to get that damage, but instead, he's gonna have to pop the Sanctuary just to keep himself alive, but barely getting out with a sliver.
A sliver of HP, and again, going for the riskier call is Eager there, pushing down that right-hand Phoenix instead of just taking the available 1,500 gold in the middle lane. You gotta be, look, Eager, I get it. Delta Marine is massive. You wanna force all the fights that you can, but you wanna take the safer fights. We've seen Aware start to get back into the game, and Myflin is just doing Geb things.
That was my favorite play of the game so far.
Really?
Yeah, it was getting teleported on, he just killed the ward.
I mean, yeah, it
was
recognizing that it was. Mollusk might be in some trouble here. Gets the preemptive strike interrupted there by the stop time, taking a ton of damage. One more auto will do it. Uses the purification. Delta Marine really wants this kill.
And he's getting deep, deep, deep in enemy territory. He got hit by one thing from Zeus, and his health just depleted. He needed to rewind. That wasn't even to get back to his team. That was, I'm gonna die if I take another step.
He definitely was in a ton of trouble, but Mollusk able to force the beads and the rewind from him. Here comes the Zeus ultimate down. The frenzy's popped for Aware, and they want to go deep.
The storm's begun. Mollusk looking for the taunt. The Typhoon coming through, but not going to lock anybody down. But Delta Marine will take out DoctorL. That's a huge form of CC coming out with the Fearless that they're not going to have. No displacement.
No pull there from Gilly, looking to pull the members of Aware back into Delta Marine. Here comes another double taunt. Huge petrified three-man knockup. Aware's getting destroyed.
Eager Dwurst going to be able to find Mollusk in the background. Eager going to have to get out. Those were beautiful plays, the beautiful knockup, the beautiful shields. They're all so low, and they forced them out with that communication. They just chained everything perfectly.
How did no one die, man?
I have no idea.
That was crazy. I mean, that's the dream scenario for Aware, and we see the weakness of their comp rearing its ugly head right away. Not enough damage.
But the Eager aren't giving this up without a fight. They forced them to leash it again. Cameron looking to find, but Giliara going to be able to TP back to the storm. Nice purification coming out to get away from Kenshin, but that's the sprint popped. He's not going to be able to get away since he's already used that dash. Going to have that teleport, the Intoxicate being used, but Gilly still going to be able to live.
Tank boots. Shout out to Tank boots, man.
Oh my
Using
goodness.
those ticks from the belch, able to stack up that passive, get those protections online, and then able to survive the Intoxicate just barely.
I mean, you ain't kidding when it comes to literally just one little bit of health, and these boots are changing everything. There's 4 on the side of Aware. See, looking at Eager, there are 3 on the side of there, but Eager, speaking of the people of the hour, going on this gold for you again, but everybody's coming from all sides when it comes to Aware Gaming. Gonna be leashed again, Lawbringer into the middle of the pack. Mollusk's gonna get taken out by Delta Marine, however.
Mollusk just not able to get the ultimate off. Now DoctorL knocked up by the Typhoon. He gets a nice double Fearless in, but he's taking a ton of damage from Supernova. Pulled back in, a huge Lightning Storm. Delta Marine's deleted.
Yep, there he goes. DoctorL deleted as well, using the Mystic Rush coming out from Dwurst to finish the kill. Shield coming out, gonna get a little bit of damage onto the Geb, but at this point, tanky Geb don't care.
Not a whole lot. Kenshin trying to just peel for Boronic right now. Dwurst doing whatever he wants, trying to get into him there. Another time that Eager funnels into a small corridor and gets punished for it. The Petrify coming out, stuns multiple people, stuns Delta Marine in the Lightning Storm, not able to use the purification in time. Now Boronic getting really, really low. Gilly dashes through. Myflin does secure it for AirCougar, while Gilly is killed by the Intoxicate that time from Kenshin.
Kenshin gets credit for the kill, but Mollusk back in the fight with the Defender of Olympus. Gonna charge through, get a nice 2-man taunt. Cameron just gonna work magic from the backline, but Dwurst gonna find the credit, or look to find him, not gonna be able to close it out.
Hey, have you heard that Aware doesn't have enough damage on their side to kill anyone, really? I mean, we see Delta Marine finally fall there. We get a double taunt into a double knockup, and all you have is Cameron swinging away. Cameron 0-4-6 right now, is near the top of the, I mean, not really, actually. He's second on his team, but look at all the members of Eager that are above him. You've got Delta Marine, AirCougar, Gilly, and Dwurst all sitting on top of him. Yes, he does have the second most on his team, but if you're gonna go with these 3 tank, 2 damage dealer sort of composition, Medusa wouldn't have been the one that I would have chosen. I would have chosen a physical ADC that can really start to get going into that later game, like a Xbalanque, like a Jingwei, something along those lines that would have enabled you to really rely on them in the late game to do enough damage to lift up the weaknesses of your composition. Medusa just has had some great petrifies, don't get me wrong, but the overall damage just isn't there.
We're gonna have the same fight coming out again, trying to push Mollusk out, but this time the Gold Fury wasn't leashed. They may be able to take it out at this point, gonna be able to wait for it, and it's gonna go once again to Team Eager, and then you see they scatter. They got what they wanted, they're gonna get out.
Aware's gonna pull the Fire Giant here, looking to pull them over, but it's taking way too long. Fire Giant still completely full health, and all of Eager know about it. Defender of Olympus coming down, a nice triple taunt, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough.
Not gonna be enough. Delta Marine taking out Cameron. The push on the backline against Giliara was basically moot. They couldn't find anything coming out from it. And instead, Giliara trying to pull back Boronic, but gonna find members of Aware Gaming at the same time. Mollusk putting up the shield wall, but he's not gonna be able to shield himself from Delta Marine.
Delta Marine was in the backline there, and no one even looked at him. Boronic gonna fall to Gilly. Now DoctorL gonna fall to Delta Marine. 11-1 for Delta Marine now. That's 4 dead on the side of Aware Gaming. They've pushed their lead up to 11K now, and it's about to be 11K plus a Fire Giant.
Plus a Fire Giant. Kenshin is nowhere to be seen. He can't do anything about this Fire Giant. He's off in the back line. He's just gonna try and, I mean, he can't really even stop them from coming in and start working on these Phoenixes either.
No,
They're not gonna aggress that early though.
He doesn't have the ultimate available. That's the only real steal potential is Bacchus. You want to be able to belly flop in and knock everyone up and then get the Intoxicate to secure the objective. But without that available, it's just not worth you dying, because if he dies, that opens up another respawn timer for Eager to take advantage of to push down these structures. This time, Eager pushing down the towers instead of the Phoenixes. With the respawns coming up, that was a much safer Phoenix push than their last one that they had available to them.
Yeah, but now they're going to start working on the Phoenix, and they're going to take it out quickly thanks to Delta Marine and AirCougar. Between the two of them, they take down objectives so quick. I wanted to think of something to say about the tower, but it was already gone.
It was already gone, and we mentioned it earlier. That's the danger for Aware. Not only do they have these late game hyper carries that can punish you if you take a step out of position, but they also can punish your entire map because they're going to be taking down your structures instantly. Now, look at that. Aware takes one too many steps to that right-hand side. Eager takes this opportunity to be looking at this Phoenix.
Typhoon going to find the knock-up on a Boronic, but Mollusk over in the front line trying to find the taunt. Instead, that's going to be the Zeus ultimate bringing a little bit of damage. DoctorL in the front line trying to find any kind of CC, try to be obnoxious as the solo laner, but Team Eager are not giving him the opportunity. 2-man knockup, 5-man Intoxicate coming through, plus Mollusk coming through with the Defender of Olympus. DoctorL gonna find AirCougar. That was huge.
Cougar is dead, and like you mentioned, that is huge for them. Now Mollusk looking forward, still looking to pick off any members of Eager, and Eager just stayed way too long there. You've got all that gold from taking down the towers and the Phoenix and the Fire Giant and the fight. Look at that, 3,500, 27, 25, 25, 25. That is a ton of gold. That's over 10K gold to spend at the base that you just decided to try and keep in your pocket and push with.
At that point, you overstepped your welcome. You had the lead, but at that point, you messed up, you done goofed. And now Myflin gonna get attacked by 4 members of Aware Gaming. He's tanky, but he's not gonna be able to survive for too long. Thankfully, he does have Delta Marine here to try and peel for him. Plus, Gilly here to pull back Kenshin. That's gonna be the CC, and that's gonna be the kill.
The fat man just gets thrown around like a rag doll there. Just missed off the mark with that Cataclysm,
Nice.
but Cameron's still gonna be in some trouble here. Both relics available, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Gonna fall to the damage of Delta Marine yet again. And that's Aware. Yeah, you gotta pick. Yeah, you can push them out, but where's the tower damage? You only have Medusa to do some tower damage. Not able to find it. Medusa doesn't know where to look at Myflin, if we're going on him or if we're going on the tower, trying to secure some gold for our team. And then all of Eager comes roaring back. AirCougar just respawning now, but with 4 people, they can still win these fights 4v5 just because of the damage from Delta Marine.
Myflin still being tanky. Zeus ultimate doing a good job of zoning, at least keeping them away, having them take the long way around to try and stop them from taking this Phoenix. DoctorL gonna find a nice Fearless into the wall, but Delta Marine gonna be here with the Get Shield and then rewind to get all of that health back. Boronic in a pretty bad spot, gonna get a little bit of extra protections from the Defender of Olympus, but at that point it doesn't matter because it's already gone. Beautiful Fearless, but the Phoenix is down.
Phoenix is already down, and everyone is taking a ton of damage right now. Myflin turns around, uses the knockup. Nice belly flop in from Kenshin. DoctorL gonna pick up Delta Marine. That's huge. Gilly gonna find DoctorL on the back end, and now the focus is on Boronic.
Boronic is not gonna last for very long at all, and there he goes. AirCougar getting credit for the kill. Kenshin, the nice target, gonna get pulled back. Good belly flop to get out, but at that point, it only changes their aggression. They're gonna take out Mollusk. Cameron may be the next casualty if he doesn't get away.
He does get away, though. That time you pick up Delta Marine, but you've still got 4 members of Eager pushing down this right side Phoenix. Cougar not on the same page. Picking up that minion wave instead of pushing this tower, this Phoenix down, doesn't really matter. Now Cameron, no purification available, does use that Sanctuary, but that's both relics down now. This Phoenix, this Titan push from Eager. Going to be extremely difficult to defend. Already at 50% and dropping.
Yeah, 50% dropping. Gilly having to come back, but Cameron going to be able to find it. Myflin taking out Cameron, however, in retaliation. Kenshin trying to host a good defense, but it's not going to be enough. Titan has fallen 11-30 in a 36, almost 37-minute game.
If you let Chronos middle just do whatever he wants and farm and get to be 4-0, 5-0, finish a rod of Tahuti around 20 minutes or so, that's what's going to happen to you. You're just going to get steamrolled no matter how tanky you are. So Aware not finding a 2-0 that they would have liked. Eager able to find a win with the substitute, no jelly for them. So it secures their place in first place alone, but Most Wanted still has a game to play today.
Yeah, so Most Wanted, if they find a win, they're going to have at least a tie with Eager, and we're going to be in the same position that we were earlier this morning. But if they find the 2-0, it's going to continue to skyrocket them. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about Eager, who came back, won that second game very solidly.
Yeah, I mean, the mid laner is really the focus there in both games. We saw Boronic just have amazing Vulcan ult in that first game of the set, and then we saw Delta Marine get super fed on Chronos, like I mentioned. But the mid laner is definitely the focus of this set. You can see it here, Boronic positioning well as Vulcan, making sure that he's able to do it. Here's the first snipe onto Delta Marine. Look at how far away he is. That's all the way downtown. That's
max range. That's at the edge of the damage. Like, that was just perfect. You couldn't have asked for anything better. Delta Marine had a fantastic game either. I don't think it could have gone any better for him. Just look at him go so ham.
Look at it, it's just the gas pedal button. You press 2, you press the second ability, and you just go as Chronos. And he did a perfect job there, coming around the backside, just doing whatever he wants in these team fights. Look at how long he wasn't looked at in that fight. He kills Cameron, yes, and then he's around the speed buff, and no one from Aware looks at him. Chronos has to be your priority target in every fight past like 14 minutes. But with how fed he was, he has to be your priority target at 10 minutes. And he wasn't, and we saw what he can do when he's left alone.
You forget about him, and then at that point, you're dead because he already sneaks up from behind and takes it. But I like the fact that Aware stepped up. They had a really rough game, or a really rough set of games last week, and they're looking really strong. It looks like Mollusk is really finding his place.
Still getting into there, still trying to find that team synergy. It does take some time. We saw a great performance from Mollusk last week, played well again this week. Aware's in a good spot right now. They didn't get the 2-0 that they were hoping for against Eager with a sub. Eager probably gets a confidence boost knowing that whenever Jelly comes back, they're going to be feeling very confident against Aware, having their full roster. But overall, Aware still in a great spot and looking good going into the final weeks here of the online portion.
Thank you for those final thoughts. Well, we were wrapped up for that first set. Second set coming at you. Here is Soar versus Kingdom. Stay tuned. We have more NA shenanigans to come.